Okay, so our next guest is Ken Stretz from Stretz Tactical, and the subject is we're going to talk about training under stress. Ken, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, guys.
Or training under stress, I guess was what we should.
I knew you were going to say that, right?
Well,
I knew you were going to
the
say
people I work with at my day job, they'll probably tell you under stress. But,
Yeah, you stretch them out.
exactly. You know how many times I've heard that play on the
I know. I have zero originality here, my friend.
It's yeah, but it's probably well deserved on my part, to be honest. So.
And plus, you got to live up to it, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Don't want to let people down.
No.
So talk a little. Let's give some backgrounds for some folks who didn't hear. I know we've had you on before, but for some folks who didn't hear that interview, just talk a little bit about Stretz Tactical and who you are and where you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Ken Stretz. I own Stretz Tactical. I'm the guy who can't say the name of my company. Stretz Tactical.
But you do it well.
That's what you get for making fun of my joke, right there. Instant karma.
Oh, that was a joke. So my background: 9.5 years in the Army Reserve. Did a year and a half as a communications support soldier in 1st Battalion, 11th Special Forces. That unit got disbanded, transitioned into military police. Did another year, 8 years as an MP, and got out just before the GWAT started, so I missed out on that party. And I've been a cop in New York for 26 years. Started with the NYPD, and since then I've worked at state, county, local level in a variety of different capacities, including SWAT, firearms instructor, started my current agency's first patrol rifle program, done undercover prostitution enforcement, presidential and foreign dignitary security details, done a bunch of different things. It was involved in a line of duty shooting and another incident. I watched another officer get involved in a shooting. I've responded to a lot of shootings and stabbings as a police officer, and I've taken those experiences in the streets of New York, and I've coupled them with having attended over 100 shooting schools on my own as a student, and I've forged them together to create Stretz Tactical, which is a mobile firearms training company. And I'm based in New York, but I do classes in California, Texas, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, pretty much, anywhere. I've done most travel.
That's awesome, Ken. And you used a term. It's so funny. You know how you hear a term for the first time and you've never heard it before, and then you hear it like 10 times the next week? So I just learned that the term that you just used, the GWAT, which stands for, Dave, have you heard GWAT before? It stands for Global War on Terrorism. Which we won. I don't know if you heard, but under Biden, he said, all right, we won. And then boom. So,
I don't think so.
Yeah, we won. That's what he said. So
I forgot.
Yeah,
that's
he
what
said
he
we
said.
won. So there it is. No more terrorism.
I think Obama pulled back that term at some point. It wasn't politically correct, if I remember right, and that's probably why a lot of people haven't heard of it.
Actually, honestly, I just heard it Thursday night. We had a guy, a SEAL, come down and talk to us, and he talked about GWAT, and I'd never heard that term before. And then, boom, you used it, and someone else used it too. It's so weird. All right, so talk about training under stress. Why should people inject stress into their training environment when they're learning firearms?
Sure. So it may sound like, oversimplified to say it, but obviously you get in a, use of force or lethal force encounter, you're going to be under stress, right? And there's really no way to fully replicate that unless I started shooting at you and they tell me that's illegal, so I don't do that in my classes. So you have to find other ways to learn how to perform under stress, right? So the first one, and before you get to the learning how to train under stress, you got to have a good, solid foundation of the fundamentals, right? So accuracy, weapons manipulation, and by accuracy, what do I mean? So you just got your permit, you've been doing some training stuff. Where should you be on the accuracy piece before you move on to something else? I would say at 25 yards, if you could shoot, say, 5-6 inch group, you're kind of there. You can still hone it in a little bit from there, or you could put an NRA B8 bullseye up and shoot 10 rounds from 25. If you can shoot, say, a 90% or better, I think you're kind of there on the accuracy piece. And from there, work on your presentations, draws, reloads, malfunctions. Once you have that type of stuff dialed in pretty good, now you start moving into the training under stress. So how do you do that? Well,
I'm glad you not just to interrupt real quick. I'm glad you said that. I think that's extremely valuable. I feel like people try to go too far too fast, and especially, right, Alicia?
Absolutely.
I think inexperienced instructors are unintentionally trying to show off. So they go, all right, okay, now you hit the target once. You hit the bullseye one time. So now I'm going to yell in your ear and blow a horn and, and pull from concealment and, whatever.
Call you nasty names.
Yeah, I'm going to call you nasty. I'm going to push you in front of a car in traffic, and then you have to hit the target, So I'm glad you said that. I think that's an excellent kind of guideline for when you should start doing this type of training.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's, honestly, it's not just the instructors. We live in the Instagram social media world, and it's an important as a business owner to use social media, get your name out there or whatever. But as far as like students, sometimes it's an ego-driven thing. My buddy Mike, God rest his soul, passed away a few years ago. He reached out to me. I'd worked with his mom years ago at a sheriff's department, and he's like, "Hey, my mom said you're the guy to come to. I think he'd been shooting like 2 years at the time, had never taken a class, and he's like, when is your next advanced class?" And I'm like, oh boy. So I didn't want to insult him and suggest him taking something else because I knew his mom, and I'm like, all right, here's where it is or when it is. So he comes out to the class. He couldn't clear a double feed, and he was having problems reloading, stuff like that. So to his credit, afterwards, he's like, all right, when's your basic defensive or tactical pistol class? So he realized it after the fact. So I give him credit on that. But so it's not always the instructors and how they try to sell the sexy stuff. Sometimes it's our own egos, right? We're ego-driven creatures. So once you got those basics down, simple things like getting a shot timer, right? So you can go online and you can spend $125 on a shot timer. Or they have cheap apps you can get on your phone and use as a shot timer. And what that does is it gives you a start time and an end time, and you can adjust them. And you can go online and look at some different drills and some standards out there on one shot from the ready, or one shot from concealment, or a build drill, which is 6 rounds in under 3 seconds at 7 yards. You can look at some of these drills online and just practice them yourself, or you could take a class with somebody like me. Like I have May 20 and 21. I'll be out there in Pala, California for a 2-day advanced tactical pistol class. We'll be doing a lot of drills on the shot timer. So something like that. Physical duress is another one. You can run around the range. You can grab kettlebells if you got kettlebells at home. And I know sometimes some ranges are limited, so you obviously got to have a gun club or a range that'll allow you to do that. But you can bring your kettlebells to the range and go down by the target line, run up, grab the kettlebells, jog down, jog back up, and then draw and fire under that physical duress.
Because that simulate, because when you're stressed, whether you've been moving or not, when you're stressed, you jump up and boom, you jump out of bed because someone's broken into your house, right? Now your stress level is up.
Sure.
All the same things happen to you, or very similar things happen to you, as when you run a half mile or
Sure.
do you exert yourself. Your heart rate's up, your blood pressure, everything. All the same things happen, right?
Adrenaline flows.
I can tell you that the line of duty shooting I was in, for over an hour afterwards, I had chest pains. And they put me on an EKG somewhere hour 15, hour and a half mark, and my heart rate was like 110, normal 60 to 80 beats per minute. So that long after, and I was still feeling the physical effects of it. So it's important to do stuff like that, right? Not just because it may look cool or you think it actually has some value, right? So another one is competition, right? And there's always that argument, competition will get you killed in the streets, and it's kind of ridiculous. You're not competing, whether it's IDPA, which is more defensive or tactical based, or IPSC or 3-gun. You're not doing that stuff to learn tactics. You're doing that stuff to learn how to shoot under pressure. Right? We have the ego piece, right? You want to shoot really good, and you're going to see other people outshoot you, and you're going to be like, oh, my God, they were amazing. How do I get like that? And, so you got the ego piece there, especially if you go with some friends, right? Like, you can talk smack to each other. I outshot you, or, your draw was so slow. You can make fun of each other. And it just adds that little bit of stress, right? So competition is a good one. And then probably my favorite is force-on-force training. So for people that are not familiar with force-on-force training, some people use airsoft, but there's other products out there called simunitions or UTMs, basically real guns modified to shoot a detergent, a colored detergent projectile, and you put people in scenarios. You got protective gear to protect your face and your eyes and stuff like that. And you put you in a scenario like you're in a supermarket and someone comes in and robs it, or someone tries to carjack you, or home invasion or whatever. and see how you do in those situations. And what I like to do when I teach those classes is throw in curveballs. Here's a situation you shouldn't have shot at all, or maybe, yeah, you could have shot, but maybe it would have been better to be a good witness, or you're focused in on this guy and you didn't see there was another guy there. And that's really, I think, where the rubber meets the road, not just for the stress piece, but all of your firearms training. And then another one, believe it or not, that's really good is live fire shoot houses. And not a lot of people offer them, but when you get in a shoot house and you're moving around and you get different things to look at and think about, your accuracy really falls apart if you don't really dial yourself in. So,
Ken, what's your website? Because we want people to join you in May when you're out here. How do people find that?
Sure, it's stretztactical.com. That's STRETZ tactical.com, and they can just double-click on the training page. And it's May 20 and 21st, Pala, California, out of Christensen Combatives, 2-day advanced tactical pistol.
Cool. All right, man. Hey, this is Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.